Hey, what's happening, friends? We are live at the Team Growth Mastermind. Welcome. Um, we're just getting started here. This is our first episode. We got a couple of little technical difficulties, so bear with us. Um, we are. My name is Dylan Onaka. I'm a team leader here in Hawaii. I get to lead the #1 team in the state, and my friend Andy Warburton is team leader of the Warburton team out of California. And we had several discussions about the mutual pain points that we have when it comes to lead generation, lead conversion, and all of the things surrounding that. And we thought it'd be a good idea to start up a discussion, bring on smart people and our friends that have something to contribute to all of us to get better at that, because I think that's such a high level pain point that all of us face in our business on a daily basis. And so with that, Andy, you got anything to say as we get rolling here?
Yeah, we're setting, all of us are setting huge goals for next year, surging forward, right? That's where we all want to be. I think everybody's reeling a little bit from 2024, but the intent is to go in very powerful into 25. And I know for me, Dylan, it's kind of a selfish thing doing this. I want to hear from smart guys like Jeff and smart women like Sara and go, okay, what are you doing? And basically steal everything I possibly can, learn whatever I can, right? There's just so much, when we go to Unlock, when we go to these conferences, there's so many smart people out there doing this. And if we can just create more of an integration between us, I know we can all learn from each other and escalate our goals. That's exactly where I'm coming from.
I love it. Well, thanks, Jeff and Sara, for joining us today.
I don't know about me being the smart one. Definitely Sara.
Well, no. We were going to say that, Jeff, but, we're just trying to be polite, okay?
I had trouble logging on, so I brought my son, Sam, though. He's the smart one for technical issues.
I can say this, Dylan. My wife and I sat at a breakfast table with Jeff. And I don't know, who was it you were in conversation with, Jeff, at that table? Do you remember? It was a very fired up conversation about CRMs, and I can't remember the gentleman's name.
CRMs, emails, and we were just it was almost a rapid session of what's working in your business other than, just purchasing leads, but what other things were working best?
I do think, and Dylan and I have had this conversation many times, many of us have these relationships with Zillow and Realtor.com and Ojo and Movoto and so on and so forth, the large search portals. And we're all looking for ways to at least match that lead flow, if not supersede that lead flow. And then also to remove the kinks, kind of go beyond CRM in that lead flow where we can convert them at a higher rate. And I was really drawn to your conversation. I just sat there silent, I think, the first 20 minutes, and then started a conversation with Sara. So, Dylan, if it's okay with you, let's find out from Jeff how he got going, what got started, and what the strengths are in his business. And Dylan, let's just encourage everybody. I know we had a little bit of a glitch here with the link, but those of you who are now watching this live on YouTube, just enter the comments and we'll address your questions. Your questions are really important to us. But Jeff, tell us real quick, how'd you get started? Where are you? Let's start right there.
So I've been in the real estate business now this is my 25th year. And my previous 10 years, back when I was in high school and college and about 9 years afterwards, I worked for my dad, who was in the home furnishings textile business. And it was an outreach prospecting type of an industry. I was on the road 35 weeks a year. I would see 4 to 7 people. And it was excellent training for real estate, especially on the prospecting and where do you find the next client and servicing them. So it really bled into to real estate. And for me, I was always a listing agent. So I would carry between 30 and the most I ever had was 63 listings on my own. So that was primarily what I was doing, and then built a website on the side in 2009, launched it, and then leads started to come in, and I didn't even want them as a listing agent.
Yeah.
But then you figure out, where you can do business with them, and kind of grew our brokerage actually out of
so
these.
Give us context for that. What year was that you suddenly discover these internet leads that you don't want? When was that?
2000. It launched in 2010, and it took me. We did some things. It took some stuff in SEO where our website all of a sudden just landed, and all the subdivisions that we were trying to rank for, it started to work, and then these leads started to come in. My dad actually got involved in the business. He had retired and had some back surgeries, and mom said, find him something to do. He said, well, I'm only going to work buyers that are over $1 million. And I'm like, back in 2011, that was what a real $1 million lead was. But the website started to generate that.
Right.
And then, so
So let me stop you there. So we hear these stories, and what we're trying to do is get into the weeds and find out how. Did you just pay a ton of money for SEO? Did you do videos on those housing tracks? How did you draw that traffic? And another question, is what you did 14 years ago still relevant today? Because we all know SEO has changed so much.
Some of the things we did were not relevant today. So one of them that happened was, Tiger Woods got into some trouble in 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
And I was doing some aerials in the area where his house was. And I told the photographer,
I'll do it.
I said, while you're there, go get a shot of his house. So I see his house, but all I see is golf course. So I tell my dad, who's an avid golfer, I said, write me a 300-word original article on Tiger Woods' golf course at his house, or 3 holes. And he's getting into the bent grass and this. And then from that, I posted it, sent it out to a few places, and Golf Digest picks it up. Another guy picks it up. And then I'm doing a showing, and I get a call, and it's the guy at Yahoo. And he says, we want to feature this on the front page of Yahoo.
Brilliant.
On the homepage.
Brilliant.
And once that happened, then there was more to it. It went totally viral. And my website guy calls me and says, the website's about getting ready to crash. What's going on?
Yeah.
And there were 70,000 unique visitors.
Yeah, that's
on
awesome.
At one time. So that all of a sudden brought, because Google took trusted sources, Wall Street Journal and Huffington Post and this one and that one are all. So you can't do that today. You're at least like in the state of Florida, you're not. But there's a million other SEO ways, but it's much harder because Zillow wasn't king then, Realtor.com wasn't ranking.
Right.
So it was more Wild Westy still, the end of the Wild West when we got into it. I don't know if you can do the thing. I don't think you can duplicate it so easy today.
Bring it forward, Jeff, because obviously that's a huge achievement, right? But today, I don't know what the exact numbers are, and I don't really like it when people sort of brag about their numbers, but don't you sell like 600 or 700 homes a year with all your offices?
Yeah, we did. Last year we did 500 homes, and we'll do about the same, same this year. And our number one lead source is organic leads still.
All right. So out of those 500-600, this is what Dylan and I like sort of drilling down on, right? So sorry, I'm talking too much, Dylan. Just tell me to shut up. We know each other well enough, right? Just go ahead and you just do this and I'm done. So 500, of those 500, what percentage of those come from, let's just say generally at first, internet leads? And what percentage of those don't come from a portal, but come from you?
Sarah, the numbers were, I think, we looked back from 23 and 24 recently, and I think the number was 336 generated leads, and 94 of those were listing leads. And then it was a pretty steep, what was the ratio between Zillow or other portals and then Echo generated, whether it was chats or whatever? Do you remember the number?
I do. So based on our website, we close about 15 to 20, each month is different, 15 to 20 per month that have come directly to our website. Compare that to Zillow, which we have a very high conversion rate with. We're closing around 5 or 10 Zillow deals per month.
Wow, that's interesting. So out of those 15 to 20 that you close, how many leads do you process to get to those 15 or 20 closings? And try and make it sound bad, not good, okay? Because everybody's
I am going to make it sound bad.
Right,
so if you actually look at the conversion rate, is low because we receive a bunch of leads.
No, we all get it. That's why we're so interested in you guys.
But what is a lead? A lead just clicked on a property. A lead wants to know what the HOA is. What is a lead? So getting appointments from those leads, the conversion rate is much higher. But we probably pull in 1,000 leads directly on our website every single month. But what you qualify as a lead is much different.
Is that a combination of property landing pages, contact forms? I mean, is there something that sticks out?
Email reports. Jeff writes an amazing blog that goes out every single Sunday. We have a bunch of community pages, amazing SEO that Jeff has built out. But yes, just
So
driving a bunch of traffic.
We have 14,000 subdivisions on our website with all unique content one by one. So we go down from here. We're filling out the Miami. We don't do business so much in the Miami-Dade and Fort Lauderdale area, but we've built out the website now, and we're finishing that area up. But we have a lot of granular content, and then it's certain pages that people use. Like we have a country club cost comparison. So it is a spreadsheet with detailed information and photos and videos and how much each. So there's all sorts of landing pages that people are coming to for a specific reason, and then they're drilling down because the buyer is also much more interested in where they live. I live in Egret Landing, and there's 640 homes in Egret Landing. So I'm interested in I'm a little interested in what's going on in Jupiter, Florida, or Palm Beach County, and then I'm a little bit more interested in Jupiter. I'm more interested in Egret Landing, but I'm really interested in Cocoa Plum. If my neighbor sells or who's coming in. So the more granular, and that's what a lot of our emails that we're sending out to not just clients, but residents in the area, that's updating them on their own subdivision and things close to them. So, and then I'll write a Sunday piece that contains all of our open houses as well that goes in there. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, no, we can. You said 14,000 subdivisions. So you just blew my mind, right? You're a hardworking guy. I got that at the table, but you ain't gonna write 14,000 subdivision descriptions. How did you help the people who are going to watch this, and they go, okay, I've got 200 subdivisions. How am I going to get material on 200 subdivisions? Now we use Lofty, and Lofty does have subdivision material. All the stats, and you can generate those with a pretty good web guy. How did you originate those? I get that you do your blog, and I get that that's Jeff Lichtenstein. That's unique, right? But 14,000, how'd you do that?
Well, I'll get back to the blog in a minute because it's more than a blog. But those were 4 a.m. days back in 2009 and 10, and that was like my. I was carrying 60 listings and I'm writing, and I had one IT guy, and between the both of us, we would write original content. It was more, and we'll still write content today. So we go into MLS, we look at what's out there, and then there's a certain format. We've adjusted it per SEO people so that it does, what are the top 5 things in the town, or things that people are Googling and where they may land on the page. And so it is all original content. It's not,
wow.
We're not using ChatGPT to write up content. We have virtual assistants that help, that are able to get us.
And I think we've started a little bit with chat, but we've always been somewhat cautious of it because Google, likes original content. A lot of what came into being is the more white hat SEO you do versus black hat, and we've never been dinged in that way because Google's looking for the enjoyment of the user of the experience.
Yeah,
that's really the kind of, and maybe it's looking at a million different things that are involved in that. But if the content is good, people are going to land on there. You go to Wikipedia because it's easy to use and the content is good and it becomes trusted, and Google knows that, and it lifts it up. So that's we do write. We have different writers who are writing it, but we try to make it as real as possible.
So I'm trying to get down to like the bullets here that a team leader looks at this and goes, okay, I get X number of leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, blah, 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 blah. I want to increase for the agents their personal business, which is our whole thrust this year, right? Along with performing better for Zillow. Our whole thrust is help the agents build more personal. So what are they going to get out of this? Well, the first thing that I hear is they've all got subdomains, creating local information that they write, or have writers help them do it, not use ChatGPT, because everybody's saying now use ChatGPT, create that material, post it on the website. And then do you spend a lot of money promoting that website with pay-per-click? Do you rely solely on people typing in the search engine and looking? How do you draw the traffic now? And I got a million questions for you.
Well, I would start by writing what's around you and the subdivisions that are by you. So, and then have goals. So if your goal is to do, add 10 a day, then break that down. This is where we need to be on a week, so that you time block it like you would for anything else. For we send every buyer every resident that we meet. So if I'm at the dentist, I get, I want the dentist's email address, and then we'll go look up in the tax record where the dentist lives. So if they live in Harbor Isles or something, we'll put them on Harbor Isles Real Estate News. And then, so they're getting all the new listings that are coming out. And we send it once a month, because if you do more than that, your unsubscribes are going to go up. And then we do an email report, which is another piece that we do that lists all the solds, under contracts, actives in the area, and has a little bit more material. So they get 2 pieces of email from there that are going out each month. And then they're also getting once a week. And this took me a long time to do. I didn't do it till the pandemic. They get I call it Jeff's Journal, and we post a blog, and I write it. And then there's a piece there's a teaser that's enough information, and then they'll click read more to go to the blog, which gets them to the website. And then underneath the read more are all the open houses that we have that week, and some other calls to action, like what's your home worth, or things like that.
So Jeff's Journal is an email with a link to a blog.
That's correct. It's a column. And I started writing a column during the pandemic that was, what's going on with the real estate market, and everybody's at home. So I'd instantly see them, and I never sent it to our whole list because I didn't want to hurt the list. So I started writing statistics, different things that were going on in the market. And then it kind of evolved into some, what is staging like? What's the best time to put your home on the market? Things of that nature. And then I started to introduce some characters. So here's Sam, here's Grandma Harriet, here's bizarre stories that have happened in the real estate world.
I love it.
But the public likes hearing those stories because they all own a home. And the goal is not to have them unsubscribe, and to keep them going. And then if they like and trust you, then maybe they use you. But they're also, it's intro to other pieces of the website. So one of the things we're working on now is the landing page of Jeff's Journal it'll launch hopefully this week or next week. But it looks better, and there's better calls to action on it. So it brings them to listings or commercial real estate or wherever else you wanted to go to, or other episodes of Jeff's Journal that they can read. So if you're interested in that point of your life in staging, or you're interested in the buying process, or whatever thing I'm talking about that particular week. But
so Jeff,
the writing needs to be.
Sorry to interrupt you. A lot of this is driven by you. I mean, I know we haven't spoken much to Sara, and my wife and I were both super impressed with her at Unlock, all those ops systems. So I'd like to get to that, Dylan, if it's okay with you in a minute. But Jeff, I'm hearing I
got a simple question for everybody that I'm sure they're wondering is, what's the website, so they can go look at what this
looks
like.
Totally, right? What's the web? Let's go. What is it, Jeff?
EchoFindProperties.com.
Echo find as in you look fine, or find as in find the thimble?
Oh, you look fine, Andrew. ECHO and then fine, FINE properties. When we did we made a name change. The original URL was JeffRealty.com, and then when we became a brokerage, we morphed, and that's a longer story. But I pretty much delegate most everything out. I don't write any of the subdivision material. Sara does whatever she does. So there's not that much I do, other than at this point, I still hold on to the writing aspect of it. But
Sara, he loves to write Jeff's Journal.
Dylan, go ahead, mate. Because I've
spoken. So maybe to shift to Sara and some tactical stuff on this, right? All the leads in the world are great. And one of the, I think, the golden nuggets here that Jeff kind of breezed through is, I think people take for granted that you can have great content on your website, but if you're not driving people to it via an email list, it's not being seen, and it's vice versa, right? So it's like, if you're collecting emails, the gold is there because you're putting people into getting them the information that's interesting, which ends up converting them. But Sarah, so what does this look like in terms of like the mechanics? Okay, 1,000 leads come in. What happens at that
Right.
point? CRM, how does it distribute it to agents? What does their process look like? Is there a script? I mean, all of that stuff, if you can kind of start. I know it's a lot, but like maybe, the most simplified process of
Yes.
what that looks like. Once
I'll break it down. So
Yep.
I joined Echo as an ISA, and then I worked my way up and I became the ISA manager. So we now have a team of 6 ISAs. So all leads that are flowing through from our website, from Zillow, from wherever, they're touching the ISA first. The ISAs, call, text, email, video, finding out, call in the morning, call at night, call on the weekends.
Are they all local? Are they all local?
So four are local and licensed. We have 2 overseas, and they're fantastic, but 4 are local and licensed.
Okay.
So that they know the area. They can talk about the beautiful lighthouse in Jupiter or certain communities, they're very familiar with it. And they understand the flow of a deal because they are licensed agents. So everything flows through to the ISA team, and then we obviously will either set an appointment or we'll distribute that to the agent. Now, who gets what leads? So we really base this off of who's producing, who's converting internet leads. We're not just handing out leads to a brand new agent who comes on the team, because our ISAs get compensated based on who's closing that deal. And we have actually just transitioned into kind of a new form here. We used to just hand out leads and set an appointment and send it off and forget about it. Now we have the ISAs really following that lead to the closing table. So they're almost like an assistant to the real estate agent, which is huge. And letting leads slip through the cracks is no more. We want to make, agents are out there showing properties, open houses, you name it, they're doing it. So we just want to be their assistants and back them up and make calls, text, videos when people are back on the website, back on Zillow, opening emails, and the girls are fantastic. They're talkers, so they can talk to anyone.
If right now somebody was looking at the website and, I don't know, saved a couple of properties, what would happen right now?
So there's an instant automated alert that becomes a task in our follow boss. Follow boss is what we use for our CRM.
Okay.
Automated task. And the ISAs have a list of who's online right now. And we are calling, within our goal is always within 5 minutes, but definitely within the hour to get them on the phone. So they have this list of who's back on the website, who do I need to reach out to first. It's also sorted by when was the last time that we spoke to this person. Example. Andy, you came on our website yesterday and you're back on the website today. I might not need to call you every single time that you're on the website. That might come off as a little creepy, but we have this based on a very good flow of if you're recently back on the website, we're calling you, we're texting you, we're sending you a video, and we're building.
Okay, I'm just doing the math in my head, Dylan. Watch this. So Sarah was saying 1,000 leads, right? So 1,000 leads, 250 a week. Let's pull out the weekends. I don't know if they work on the weekends.
We do.
They do. So 40 to 50 a day. 6 people. Are they all full time? Those 6 people? I'm breaking down the math in my head.
Yes, we are all full time, and honestly, some of the girls work overtime because they're just, the more they work, the more money they make. So we have girls answering the phone at 8 p.m. on Saturdays on their days off, or on Wednesdays on their days off. They just,
if you don't mind me asking, what will an ISA make? Like if a $500,000 house closes at 2%, what will they make?
So we don't do it based on percentage. We just do a flat fee. So it doesn't matter if the property is $1 million, $5 million, $500,000. It's at $500 at the closing table.
$500. Okay, so that's definitely motivation.
We do not call our ISAs. We call them client concierge.
Call them what?
Client concierge.
Yeah, I like that more.
Yes.
Dylan, you
hearing this like ISA.
So that's they're driving roughly 50 a day. Let's just call it 50 a day, right? And out of those 50 a day, you're converting 20 a month, which is great.
That's just what's coming from our website. Never mind Zillow and incoming calls and everything else.
Totally get it.
Yep.
So, and you're doing say 500 to 600, so 40 a month. So 50% of it is from your website. That's impressive. So, but you got a lot of filtering. Like the 1,000 leads. Can you, Dylan, just cut me off at any time? All right, I got a million questions. So a lead, because we're doing this right now, right out here. The ISAs are sitting here, and we want to get better, right? So when the calls come, what do you consider a lead? Is it somebody that you see as searching, saving, the high intent activities? You call them, you speak to them. They say, I want to speak to somebody. Is that what you classify as a lead?
Correct. Yes. Because we have a lot of looky-loos that just want to know what's going on there. And those may turn into a lead, but they're not a lead at this time. They're just looking, they're just browsing.
So you have 1,000 browsing connections a month. And out of those 1,000, how many of those convert into, I've got Betty on the line, please call her?
Probably each month is different, but if I had to guess, probably about half.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yes.
So you're sending out, Dylan, go, mate.
I'm always going to go back to the granular mechanics, right? Like what is the lead program, the lead follow-up program look like, right? Is it call and text the first day, call and text, like until you actually make contact and then can evaluate whether the lead is high intent or low intent or whatever? Like what does that look like from the ISA standpoint?
And that's a great question. It's actually something that we're kind of adjusting at this time because what we had before, I think we can always improve. So there wasn't like a true cadence. It wasn't like day one, call, text, email, day two, call, it was really just based on the activity of the lead. So we're really heavy and hard for about 14 days, like call, text, email every single day, set up on a report, send a video. And then we're going to transition that into a pond. If we cannot get them on the phone, or we cannot get them via email, they're not opening emails, whatnot, they're going to sit in a pond. Once we're getting the appointments, then we're handing them out to the agents. And the agents have access to said pond, and that if they can get someone on the phone, they absolutely can have that lead and decide to work it. But what we've realized is that we were just flooding the agents with leads that weren't true leads. And then people's follow-up bosses have thousands of people in them, and they don't know where to start. They don't know where to call. So we're transitioning into just appointments so that your follow-up boss is clean and easy to organize, and you know who to reach out to when, rather than looking with cross eyes.
So Dylan, the answer to your question, I think, was call, text, email every day for 14 days.
Well, 14 heavy follow-up for 14 days.
Yeah,
right?
heavy follow-up for 14 days, and then after that might be like once a week, and then of course reports are still going out, so they're getting monthly report that Jeff was talking about. They're getting weekly, what we call home finders. They're getting a lot of touch points. We have drip campaigns through MailChimp. So there's a lot of touches, but when it comes to the manual touches of the calls, those will start to slow down after the 14 days, but we're still calling at least every week, or then it will get to be every month, maybe after 2 years or so. But I tell them, it kind of sounds like a cheerleader, like be aggressive. Just be aggressive. If you feel like you're tilting that line of being a little too aggressive, keep going. They signed up on our website for a reason. They want information from us. Keep pushing. You walk into a Macy's, someone asks you, how can I help you? You're going to say, I'm all set. I don't need it. But you went there for a pair of jeans. You know you're going to buy that pair of jeans. So you just have to bring value to the table. Let them know that you have off-market properties or whatever that may be, and they're open to having a conversation with you.
So I'm interested, you still go to Macy's to buy jeans?
Well, I don't, but
what's up with that?
I shop online.
Exactly.
I don't go into the store.
So this is a big conversation we have too, is the granular piece of how quickly do you respond? All of us, when we shop online, if Amazon said, hey, I'm doing work-life balance, I'll get back to you on Monday, you'd be on to the next site. And yet somehow in the real estate business, we're still saying we're going to have work-life balance. We'll get back to our leads when we time block it on Friday morning, and it's way too late. So you've circumvented that whole process.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that taking care of the team, make sure that they're paid well. They want to answer the phone at 8 o'clock at night. They want to answer the phone at 8 a.m. because there's money on the line. So they're very driven women.
And we always have, there's so much room for improvement, but an attitude in here is if it's not working, what did we do wrong and how do we fix it and how do we change it? That is just a philosophy, company wise.
Absolutely.
I got to ask you, is your ISA department, is it like a noisy part of the building? Is it a quiet part of the building? You're talking to an old Xerox salesman. So if people are yelling up and down like Wolf on Wall Street, I'm not excited.
It's hard to believe when I talk to other brokerages, we're one of the only, we are not in the office. We are full remote ISA team.
Wow.
Yes. So they work out of the comfort of their own homes. That's why they're able to answer the calls whenever they want to. We have a great Google chat where we talk every single day. We're meeting once a week. We're going through scripting. We're a very tight knit group, but we are completely virtual.
Sarah,
I'm in the office.
But Sarah, you've said that, we talked about this, that it would be, if you had your druthers and we were all here, it probably would work better. But we got self-motivated people, so they all do a good job.
I think that when we have some ISAs come in as like a guest, in the office, they'll come in for a week or so. They do fantastic. But if we had all 6 at one time, it may just start gossip and hanging out and not answering the call. So,
what's your hiring process look like? In terms of
for agents or for ISAs?
For ISAs, I think that's a challenge everyone has, is finding the right type of personality type and work ethic to do a good job in that position.
That's a good question. So I've been with Jeff for over 5 years. There's another woman on the team who's been with us for 4. We've had ISAs for a very long time. I think both have been here for 4 years or 3. We haven't had to hire recently. Our 2 recent hires were overseas, and those were easy hires. But I'm always looking for when, we're hiring an agent, if the agent is worried about taking the plunge about being fully commissioned, are they interested in being an ISA for a year before becoming an agent? So that's something that I think if we wanted to expand our ISA team, that's probably where I would start. And it's really, it's shadowing for at least a month before you're taking calls.
I still do all the interviewing. So, when there is somebody there, like somebody in the office here wanted an assistant, and I married somebody, in that way. So I can feel that out at that end. But I think there's a lot we put an ad out there and you'd get somebody too.
Right.
What's the lead distribution look like, in terms of ISA books the appointment? Is it a round robin thing? Is it a blast? Who's available? What does that look like?
So we used to be round robin, and we stopped that about 3 years ago. And now it needs to match personality wise, areas of expertise. Does this agent have experience with this price point? Is this agent caught up in their CRM?
Do they have an Echo sticker on the back of their car?
Yeah. Do they have the sticker on their car? Are they, asking to sit open houses? Are they participating in sales meetings? So, if you are participating in the culture, you're going to receive way more leads than someone who just sits at home and doesn't update their follow boss. But if you are behind on your follow boss, you're a skip, is what we call it. You're a skip for that week, and I'm going to give you some time to get caught up in your CRM, and then we'll turn you on the following week. So the agents will receive an email from me. Hey, I see you're super busy. I see that you're a little behind. I'm going to give you some time to get caught up, and when you're ready to go, I'll turn you back on for leads.
Can I ask you Can I ask you a question about metrics? So how do you colonize the metrics here? We're all familiar with sales milestones, appointment set, met with, showing homes, writing offers, How do you monitor all of those metrics so that you can maybe identify channels? This agent's really good on column 1, 3, and 5. They need help on 2 and 4. And if we do more on column 2, we get more in escrow, all that stuff that we all do, right? Mm-hmm. How do you store those? First of all, how do you originate those metrics? And secondly, how do you store those metrics? Of course, follow up, boss, but you get my point, right?
I do. And this is actually a weakness that we have. So something that I'm looking to, improve on. But right now it is all manual.
It's not just you, it's all of it.
It's all manual right now. So right now we have about 100 agents that I am checking their follow ups manually to make sure that they are doing what they need to do. So down the road, we may get a system that will assist me with that. But right now it is manual. We obviously use the call recording option in follow up, so I can listen to calls and see if there's any coaching that needs to be done. How many Zillow leads have you received and you haven't converted one of them? That's an alarm for me. So it's all manual right now. So that's not a great answer, but that is how I'm doing it.
Well, you're a busy woman.
I am. I enjoy it though. It doesn't feel like work to me.
So Jeff, 100 agents. What does your recruitment process look like? I mean, obviously they're coming because you have a lead source, but I mean, what does that look like? I mean, do you put a lot of effort into it? Are they kind of just coming to you because they see the opportunity? That's a challenge a lot of people have, right?
We have a system that we're pretty good at for new recruits, for new people who got their license, with emails and texts that go out. I'll get a call. I'll have a conversation with somebody. I then do a Zoom with them because I can show them a lot more on the back end of our website and different things and get to talk to them a little bit more. And then they'll come in. And I eliminate a lot of people during that process that are not the right fit for us. And I'm reading them to see if they're a buyer's agent, do they have listing potential, or are we bringing somebody in who's it's not going to work. We're probably 5 times better at somebody succeeding here versus industry average. And then we've really done a poor job of going after existing agents. It's really just in the last year that unless they call us, that we're starting to do more outreach.
So you're getting a lot of younger, not younger in age, but younger in terms of how many years they've had a license, younger agents.
A lot of our agents have been new agents coming, and we have no
Dylan,
problem.
how much are you hearing this these days? Over and over again, I'm hearing this, Dylan.
I prefer new agents. I think they're easier to train. They don't come with any bad habits. They're easier to incorporate into your culture. I mean, to me, that's the biggest misstep of a lot of the traditional legacy, real estate models out there, is like they only want to recruit an experienced agent and not have to deal with training them, which there's some value to being able to do that.
Jeff, let me probe for a second with a question that usually you don't get asked on podcasts like this. This is the whole point of this podcast, is that it's real, right? Let's say you bring somebody, when you bring people in, what honestly do you think? What percentages they come in because of the culture? What percentage come in because they want leads? And what percentage come in because they want the systems? So, leads, systems, culture. How would that balance be? Try and be as real as possible.
I think training you left out.
I did. So forth. There you go. I did.
And I'm working on a new. Right before this, I'm actually looking at a new email blast campaign. 4 different emails for new agents, and one of them in there is in those 2 things. What email goes out first? The first one I think is, you got your license. Now what? Is the first one, and then I think it's training, and then I think it's leads, and then I think it's culture. And actually, instead of culture, we're using the word. Probably going to say Echo is dedicated, or Echo gives back, and then culture then becomes a buzzword.
Yeah.
Within there. But I don't know. It's training and leads, I think, they're scared. They don't know how to go. Everybody's going after them at the same time. It's like,
totally.
They think like they're LeBron James and everybody's bidding on them. But they know in the back of their mind that they're negotiating on the split and all this other stuff. That they don't have, they could be whoever. And at the end of the day, though, they know they need the training, and they know they need the leads to get rolling, or afterwards you want to get people on the rebound to remember you, and if it doesn't work out there, then they can pivot.
And I can speak on that just a little. We do well with agents who maybe have been in the business 6 months at a big box brokerage, and I wasn't receiving any support. They said they had all this training when I went through the meeting, and none of the so we do very well when they come in to Echo, because we have such a robust training system. I'm also available every single day for an hour, whether it's via Zoom or in person, and do office hours. So you come in and you see me and you just pick my brain, like, hey, I can't get this lead to respond. I don't know how to write up this contract. I don't know how to do this. And so having the support, I think, is huge, internally for our team, why people join.
And we're looking for outreach. We're looking for outreach sellers, not retail sellers. So like you could get a great salesperson who does very well in a new home construction sale, or in a retail setting, or in a car lot, but can they do the outreach part of it? And there's a big difference. So you can have wonderfully talented salespeople, but they don't fit this format. So I'm looking, like, if I get somebody who's got sales territory experience and they have a sales territory, that person where they have to do that outreach, they do usually really well. And then, I'm looking for what their motivation is. If they don't know how much money they want to make, or they just want to be here, and we're not the right spot for.
So if I've had my license 3 months, bounced around, don't know what I'm doing, super motivated, want to make $100,000 a year to start out with, and I come to you, how long between today, it's Tuesday, and you'll give me my first lead?
So training will take up to, depending on how quickly you move, let's say about 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of training, then probably about a week of shadowing here and there, and then your first lead is you're 2 or 3 weeks out. You're getting your first lead.
But they have to complete some steps. Like they have filmed me doing a listing presentation. That's like an hour-long video with little nuggets in it, and then they get quizzed on that, and then they have to go. I have to meet them at the house, and I may be I'm a little old lady from England, and I'm selling my townhouse in there. They've got to give me or I may be just a difficult guy. You know, what's the? I just want to know what the price is and what's your commission rate, and they have to come and set up an appointment, and I expect a high note. I want to see the package dropped off. I want to see a text, just a quick note to say that you received, that I sent you a little information. I want them to see that a guy's going to take their shoes off at the front door, and we go through and we do a simulation of in more of a real world type of a setting in a real world environment, so that they get through that.
Do you have a platform that you plug all the new recruits into that, it's a progressive prerequisite platform? They go to stage A, B, C, or is it again manual?
No, we use a system called Thinkific, and it goes chapter by chapter. It's, this is the CRM.
Can you say that again? That's a new one to me.
Yes. It's called Thinkific. So the word think and then IFIC. And it's chapter by chapter, each program, each system, and then it's, videos and then quiz questions afterwards. And then you need to record a video of yourself, and then there's role play. So that's what you're doing for 2 weeks straight. And then you're going to meet Jeff at a house, and then you're going to role play with me, and then we're going to do a lot of things manual.
At the same time that's going on, we're getting their marketing ready. Mm-hmm. So there's 24 questions that we ask them. And then Sam over here will then take the 24 questions. He creates a bio. He interviews the agent, and then we use that. Then we do lifestyle shots. We do a movie, like a 1.5-minute movie on them. So they have all their marketing material that's ready to go. Because if you have that, it ups your odds of being successful both on the buy side and the listing side.
Last question from me. I got 100 more, but we're at 45 minutes already. We never address spend on PPC to drive traffic to your site. It sounds like this is all organic, but I have a hunch there's also some money being spent on it. So I'm assuming you spend money either on SMM or SEO or PPC to drive traffic. What's your favorite of those three?
I stopped doing a lot of the pay-per-click a few years ago, and we've started up again with it. So we're spending right now, I want to say 6 to 10 a month on it, but I really can't give you a measure of success on it yet.
Right.
With it, we know what leads are coming in, but it's taking some out. Are they calling for? They've Googled real estate and they end up with Home Depot in Jupiter instead, or they're calling for the HOA number. So we're working on that. We have a whole series of different ads that we have, whether it's what's your home worth, or some of it's sponsored. It's going after a subdivision page like PJ National, and you Google that for PJ National Homes for Sale, and you have a sponsored ad in that particular subdivision. So I can't give you a great answer on that right now.
This is a super technical follow-up, but do you do this through Follow Up Boss? Like, this is, I think, a challenge a lot of us have is how do you attribute success to a certain effort, right? And so whether it's a pay-per-click campaign and which one, or is it organic? Like, can you get some good metrics out of Follow Up Boss, or do you have a system that kind of tracks that so you can figure out what's performing and what's not?
So from the Follow Up Boss point of view, unfortunately it's going to just tell us if it came from Google, it came from Bing, it came from a certain search. But I know that Jeff's SEO guy, I think, has better metrics that I'm unaware of.
Yeah. I think that's a hard one. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
There's so many ways.
It's really hard. I wish I had that answer. No, we can see that they were on Google or Bing or Yahoo and they ended up on our page, but I don't know the keywords that they searched or what ad they clicked on.
Yeah.
I just love all this stuff we've heard today. So this show's called Team Growth Mastermind, right? So we're all after growth. I know you're already hugely successful. I don't say it to flatter you. It's just a fact. What's your growth strategy for 25? And how many points are you committed to adding? You're going to grow by 20%, 10%, 5%. So how much do you want to grow, and what's your chief, top 3 bullets of what that growth strategy is going to be to make that happen?
Some of it's going back to some basics, and really back to where I started was I was always a listing agent, and especially with what some of the things going on with BBAs and stuff, I want to really focusing on the listing side of things. And some of it's going back to postcards, taking Jeff's journal in there and sending out it to a subdivision, but writing that article and sometimes marrying it to an agent. So we're doing some experimentation, but we sent it to one area, to one agent who has 1,800 homes, and he ended up with a $2.5 million listing, and another one for 750 that's identified. But I think that in a postcard campaign, because it's unusual, because it'll get, like in his, it'll be John's Ibis Inklings, and the inkling goes out. Now, let's say 6 times a year, people start to recognize that as a newsletter that's real, not like that.
Right.
So more things on the listing side of things. Our market has been flat. We probably think there'll be 5% more activity. So, it would love to be, if the number was, 20%, that would be a good number for us if we grew by that much.
This is just huge for us. Dylan, you have anything more you want to ask?
Hey, so last question is, you guys got anything you want to promote, a book, training, speaking engagements, anything like that? We want to give you some time to talk about that.
Jeff did write a book last year, so I'm sure he wants to promote that. So I think he's grabbing it right now.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Sarah,
you
need to write a book.
They were prepared. We didn't
I know,
prepare any
yeah.
questions. So.
Well, how making a sandwich can change your world: the amazing success of the PB&J strategy, which was a Hurricane Ian happened on the west coast of Florida about 3 hours from here last year or 2 years ago at this point. And it was where the causeway fell into the water, into the Gulf of Mexico. And about 20 of us got on a Zoom call and wanted to help. And we came up with, for a long story, of making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which have 450 calories each. We're well, people know what to do with them. And it started out as a little thing here. I think Sarah did. Sarah
I was totally against it at first. I'm like, this sounds kind of crazy. Okay, like, come on, let's be serious.
But it ended up, it started, it was so interesting. We ended up making 8 runs, delivered 25,000 meals. And that went to linesmen, newly homeless people, did a great thing. But in there, it also was interesting because people said, oh, this is great team building. And it wasn't really, it was for the organic purpose of it. But then we also got a lot of attention with it. So we had ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, all over here filming us. We're in all the papers locally. And then we got Johnny Bench and Joe Namath did a promo for us. And then we went into the subdivisions, and they had the residents in the subdivisions got involved and made PB&J sandwiches with us. So it ended up being a whole, the story here was the business part of giving, and then how to brand it and how to go about it. So this ended up being a business book, because about halfway through it, I'm like, the business efforts out of it were so interesting, and I found it fascinating. There's an Audible version that one of my clients who does voiceovers did for it and stuff. So it was just kind of a fun.
Get that book up again, and where can people buy it? I assume Amazon everywhere, right?
Amazon, Barnes and
closer
Noble.
to the camera, mate, because we can't see it. There you go. That's it. How making a sandwich can change your world. I love that.
The amazing success of the PB&J strategy. But yeah, it's an Audible, or you can buy it at a fine bookstore by you, as they say.
And we got your URL out of your website, right? Can we do that again just before we wrap it up? Because you know how people always like to see that at the end of one of these podcasts.
Sure. It's echofineproperties.com.
Dylan, what a great start this is.
Yes, absolutely. Episode 1 in the books. Thank you guys very much for your time.
2 pages of notes, guys.
Me too. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Lots more of these to come, right? Lots more of these to come. And let's connect all the people we do host here together. So we form this network between ourselves, right? We respect you and appreciate you, and thank you for being generous in spirit.
Yes.
Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sarah. Awesome.
Thanks,
Bye,
Dylan and
guys.
Andrew. A lot of fun.
Thanks,
Lots of
everybody.
fun.
Cheers.